Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Dwayne coming to you to tell you about the G3 Conference 2023, September the 21st through the 23rd in Atlanta, Georgia. This year, the theme is the sovereignty of God. You don't want to miss the G3 Conference. This is my favorite conference by far, and not just because my homeboy Virgil worked there, but because it's the best conference out there, man. If you are new to Reformed theology or if you've been in this game for a long time, this is the conference for you. It's family friendly. You don't have to be a pastor. You don't have to be a theologian. You can come just as a lay person. I'll be there. I'll have a booth there. Come by, see me, shake my hand, take pictures, all the good things. I would love to see you there this year. And if you decide to go, if you use my code G3BAR, you get a certain percentage off of your registration. That's G3BAR. And where do you go? You go to G3min.org. That's G3min.org. Use my code G3BAR. Get your percentage off. Can't wait to see you. Can't wait to check it out. Make sure you guys check it out for sure. All right. Y'all have a good one. Enjoy the show, man. Peace. Hey, what's up, B.A.R folks? It's your boy Dwayne, and welcome back to the B.A.R podcast. It is another Tuesday. You're checking in, and we're doing a replay. Yes, we're playing back one of my favorite episodes, which we started doing that, man. Big shout out to my man Nick. I call him my engineer for coming up with this great idea to just kind of rewind some of these classic B.A.R interviews, man. And so today's interview is coming from March of 2020, which seems like so long ago, when we had on my brother AD Robles. Big shout out to him, man. It was a fun episode. Shout out to all the Fight Last Feast fellas, man. Chocolate Knox and all the gang, man. I got nothing but love for those guys, and they've always showed me love as well. So want to make sure that you enjoy this episode, man. Make sure you tag somebody. Make sure you screenshot and share. We can always follow us at the B.A.R Network on Instagram and on Twitter and on Facebook. So make sure you do that, y'all. I appreciate you guys listening and tuning in. Hope you enjoy the show.
Yo, welcome to the bar. Come on and pull up a seat and open up your Bible. What a wonderful feast. The living bread, and we're discussing what it means for the streets, the inner cities and the burbs, and every person we meet. This is where we challenge worldviews that we hear from world news. In light of the scripture, we are here to serve you. We're your source for resources to help you on your way as you battle mean forces. This is for the people who can see the importance of sound theology and the scripture that support it. And this is for the truth lovers, biblically reforming, preaching Christ to the nations. Yeah, welcome to the modern Reformation. Yeah,
the B.A.R, biblical and reformed. Welcome everybody to the B.A.R. It's your boy Dwayne in the building, right back in here another Tuesday. Super excited as always to be coming through your speakers, through your earbuds, wherever you listen to the B.A.R. We're grateful that you're listening, and I love to start the show off every week by thanking the listeners. This is all for you guys. I'm telling you guys, I really appreciate anytime anybody listen anywhere. And then you become so humbled when you go to a conference like G3. You see so many people that say that they listen. And so I just want to, tip my hats off to you guys like I do every week, thanking you for taking time out of your busy schedule to listen. You can listen to 1,000,001 other podcasts out there, but you listen to this one and we are definitely grateful. Also, like I do every week, I bring in an awesome guest. This brother, we've been knowing each other for a while, kind of indirectly, and definitely connect on a lot of different things. And I told him since we got on the phone, this is well overdue. I have on today none other than my brother AD. What's up, man?
Hey, well, thanks for having me on, man. I'm very humbled, like you said. I'm with you. Whenever anyone listens to me for even a minute, I'm just kind of floored by that,
Yeah. Yeah, when you're doing this kind of work, man, people just don't understand. You're in an empty room by yourself. You may be talking to somebody, and you just never know, man. Never know if anybody's listening. So you know that more than anybody. So, let's jump right in, man. Just kind of introduce yourself to my listeners. Anything you want to share, whether it's personal or professional, you can do that right here.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I'm Adam Robles. They call me AD online. And I go by my initials because all the coolest theologians go by their initials. So that's what I want to do.
I can dig it.
But yeah, Yeah, but I live in Vermont. I have a business that I run. That's where I kind of make my income. But what I'm really interested in is my online stuff. So I've got a YouTube channel. You can find me at AD Robles. If you put it in the search bar, please go ahead and check it out and subscribe to my channel. I put content out almost every single day. I'm also pretty active on Twitter, Real AD Robles on Twitter, and I also have a podcast on the Fight Laugh Feast Network called AD on the Fight Laugh Feast Network. So that's what I'm really interested in. Definitely not at the level to make that my career, but I do it as much as I can,
I got you, man. No, that's legit. And it's funny, you're saying you're not to the level of make it your career and you're on the Fight Laugh Feast because Knox always hassling me about making this full time. I'm like, bro, I'm not there, brother.
I'm working on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel you. So, man, one thing that I always loved about your content and your videos and your podcast is just your willingness to just state the truth and stand on it. I've watched you graciously disagree with people. And I even watched the transition before you got to the Fight Laugh Feast network, the transition with the conflict with church and things like that, man. Yeah. So just whatever you feel like touching, talk a little bit about, starting out, doing this, what inspired it, and then talk about some of the rough patches and transition to where you are now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I appreciate the kind words, because I do try to be as gracious as I can, as fair as I can. I'm obviously trying to be entertaining as well. And there's a line that you got to walk. So here's how I got into this. I started doing videos a couple of years ago, and it was just every now and then. At the time, I was pastoring a church with another brother, and I became interested in this topic. And so I put out a couple videos, not very regularly. I didn't intend it to ever become anything, but I wanted to get my opinion out there because I started to see some issues with the social justice rhetoric in Christian circles. And so I wanted to just kind of, as a Puerto Rican, I'm interested in this. I kind of have to be. You're kind of forced into it sometimes when you're an ethnic minority, but I happen to find it interesting, so I started putting out some videos. And then I talked about the MLK 50 conference, which was 2 years ago, and then things started blowing up. I did a few videos about Matt Chandler's talk that he did there. I did a few videos about Russell Moore's talk that he did there, and a few others. And people started watching my content all of a sudden because everyone was interested in this thing. And that's when some of the problems started happening because, Matt Chandler's a very well-respected guy. I respect him to this day. I think he's a good guy, but because he's very popular, a lot of people really like him. They kind of were taking issue with me criticizing some of his words. Like, who are you to criticize some of his words? And that's kind of how some of the problems started. And it was very unfortunate, but there was some controversy as to whether or not it's even legitimate at all to critique the words or the theology of a brother in Christ that's so well respected. And that's kind of what led to the conflict within my church, because I said, well, that's part and parcel of the job of a minister to make sure that things that are in people's minds, that are popular, that are being discussed, that you at least provide some biblical guidance to that and critique. That was my position, but not everyone saw it that way.
Gotcha. So that's funny, man, because the MLK episode for Just Thinking is probably one of the I don't know if it's the most downloaded. I think Slave Reparations is the most downloaded, but it's probably second. And like you said, that was a major just a major event. I remember posting on Facebook, the line has been drawn. We see where everybody's standing now. Okay, let's see how it goes from there. And I think
this, Dwayne,
go ahead.
That was so encouraging for me to hear that Just Thinking podcast on this topic, because, at the beginning, I'm kind of like, okay, So I'm saying these things. I see a few people saying stuff. I see
Right.
Pulpit and Pen saying stuff, and people have a lot of issues with Pulpit and Pen and stuff. So I start to think in my head, like, am I all alone? Am I going crazy? Like, is this how heretics start? Like they're like, well, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying?
I get you, man.
And then I heard that podcast, and it was so encouraging because I'm like, man, I'm not all alone out here.
Yes.
I'm not going crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense, brother. And actually that was my inspiration of putting those two guys together, because the other opinion was being blasted by well-known guys with platforms. Like you said, Matt and, Tabiti and Dr. Mason, all of those guys have their platform. And like I said, love and respect everybody I just named. But the opposition did not have a voice. And so that was my inspiration for putting Daryl and Virgil together to speak on this and to be like, people don't know, but I work really hard to get their voice out there, with marketing and things like that. So that, it's good to hear. That encourages me to hear that you hearing them helped you feel like you weren't alone, because I knew that voice was kind of by itself, man. So that was really cool for sure. So that conflict or issue, correcting, those guys that put you in a place, and by God's grace, you was able to connect with some other folks. Cause I remember, did you shut it down for a while, or how did that go? Like, I think you was going to take a break or something. Talk about that.
No problem. Yeah. So, we did things the way we were supposed to do things. So me and the other elder, we were in conflict. And so what we did was we brought in some other people to help us mediate through it. And, for a time, so basically what happened in that conversation was me and the other elder didn't agree. But everyone said, this is something that, there's probably a line you need to walk carefully here, but we can't say that critiquing someone's theology is off limits. That doesn't make any sense. And so what I had agreed to was to just basically stop doing it for a time, just to keep the peace. You know what I mean? And I would still put out content, and maybe some content here and there, but it wouldn't be the critiquing kind. And unfortunately, like, that only kept the peace for about a week. So, the other elder decided that it wasn't going to work. It was either going to be he was going to stop pastoring the church, or I would have to. And I offered to do it myself because I didn't want to cause any problems. I said, look, I'm glad to stop, and all that kind of stuff. And unfortunately, the church did not survive very long after that. It was a very small church. It was just me and this other pastor, and then 5 or 6 families. And they only lasted a few weeks after that. But God was gracious. He provided another church home for us, a great man who actually, he actually reached out to me because he heard my content on Fight Last Peace Network. Nice. And, he's it's about 25, 30 minutes away, but, around here in Vermont, like that's right around the corner,
Sure. I get it.
Yeah, but
I grew up where
God was gracious,
same thing.
And honestly, we're the families of the church. We're all still friends, and obviously there is still some conflict there that is right now unresolved. But I hope I trust God that it'll eventually be resolved.
Okay, that's cool, man. And honestly, that's also encouraging, man. Because I love to and get people into podcasting and contributing content, and sometimes it's not glorious, man. Sometimes when you're speaking the truth, even if it's the truth in love, man. I actually saw an old Facebook post I made on the little memories. It was like, lies sell easy, but truth is hard to sell. So sometimes, when you're doing this, you may run into those things, man. And I just encourage somebody that's thinking about starting a podcast that may be a little controversial. Don't be afraid, man. Step out on faith and definitely make sure that God's behind it. Don't just get out here and be reckless, but
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. That's the thing too. I think a lot of people kind of assume, and in fact, I've been told this a number of times, that it's very easy to just go on YouTube and just blast everybody, and anyone can do it. And I'm like, I'm sure that it is easy to do that, but that's not what most podcasters are doing. You know, most podcasters wrestle with this and pray about this and try to be careful. Now, that's not to say that we don't make mistakes, because I know I've made mistakes in the past, and I've even apologized publicly for certain mistakes that I've made. But I hope people don't have the impression that all we do is just turn on the camera and just say whatever the heck is on the top of our heads. That it's not how most people do it. I know Virgil and I know Virgil and Daryl aren't doing that.
No.
And it's very obvious when the content is put out, you know?
Oh yeah, for sure. And that's where you see and feel, you can feel, you know, just being authentic, especially with those guys, man. They really, they're really hardcore preparers, and he's a careful thinker, because Daryl's a natural writer. So his content is just him writing, but making it audible, which is really cool, man. Wow. So, man, so let's talk about how you got connected with the Fight Left Feet guys, my dear brothers that I got to hang out with. What brought that up, man? Did Knox call you and like Morpheus on Matrix?
Well, I don't actually know exactly how it happened, but I have a suspicion that it started with Marcus Pittman.
Okay.
And,
all right.
Marcus started sharing some of my stuff and chatting with me every now and then. And I don't know if Marcus even knows this, but I met him at a street preaching conference years ago, and he preached a sermon, or gave a talk about art and about various things like that. And I thought it was just really interesting. He's got his unique style, you know? And so he started encouraging me, man, this is a really good channel. Like you should maybe put a little more effort into this, you know, because at the time I was just, you know, I didn't know what the heck I was doing, you know?
Sure.
So I think he connected me with Knox. And then Knox had Gabe reach out to me about potentially doing a podcast. And I remember at the time, a couple people had asked about maybe doing podcasts with them and stuff like that. And I never really responded, not because I wasn't interested, but I was very busy. But when Gabe reached out, you know, if I could have handpicked some guys to do a podcast with, it would have been them. I told them
for sure.
And so I jumped on it at that point. I didn't know if I had enough time to do it, but I was just like, yeah, I'll figure it out. I'm just going to say yes, and I'll figure it out. And it's worked out real well, because I really love what those guys are doing. Oh yeah. Those
are my brothers, man. Like you said, if that was kind of one of those great matches, man, you with them, and that's awesome. And I'm excited for you, just to be connected in that form and have them guys backing you up. I know that takes a little weight off as well.
Sure does. Yeah, it definitely does.
For sure. So right here, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Spring training is right around the corner. So come for the games and have a ball in Arizona. With world-class resorts, unbeatable dining and nightlife, amazing scenery, and endless outdoor adventure. Make your visit unforgettable. Plan your getaway at myspringtraining.com.
All right, we're back in here with my man AD, not Anthony Davis. He's a little shorter, but anyway.
just a little bit.
So, man, this is what we do on the back half of the bar, man. We do the 3 signature bar questions. These are 3 questions I ask all of my guests. And now that I think about it, I've had Knox, Gabe, and Toby on the show, so it's only right that you're here too. And I've asked them all these questions. So the first signature bar question is, what kind of music do you listen to?
I listen to a lot, but if I had to pick what I'm into the most right now, this changes. Right now I'm into Billy Joel, and I'm into Lynyrd Skynyrd.
Billy Joel and Lynyrd Skynyrd. That is a interesting combination.
It It is. But I'll say this: my favorite band of all time is the Smashing Pumpkins, and I've listened to everything, man. I've listened to heavy metal. I've listened to hip hop. I've listened to everything over the years. I even like country music. Everyone dogs country music, but I think it's kind of good sometimes.
Yeah, no, I can get down with some country myself. I get that. But you're right. People be down in it. They're like, anything but country. But yeah.
That's the famous line. Anything but country. I don't get that.
Yeah, me neither. I don't get that either. All right, man. So next signature bar question is, what book or books are you currently reading?
So right now I'm packing away because I'm moving very soon. But I've got two books that I left that I have not packed away besides my Bible. And the two books that I haven't packed away are A Black Theology of Liberation by James Cone. I'm struggling my way through that. And then I've got one of my favorite books of all time, Millennialism and Social Theory by Gary North. And Gary North has written like 100 books. He just writes like unbelievable amounts of books. I don't know how popular this book is, but it's super interesting. It's about, amillennial, premillennial, postmillennial, and what impact that has on how you view society. It's really interesting.
Nice. Okay. Well, listen, I'm gonna give you a heads up on the Cone book. Virgil said it best. It's just a whole bunch of nothing, a lot of words, not saying anything.
Well, let me say this to you. So when I first got it in the mail, I got it from Thrift Books, and it came in the mail. And if you've ever bought a book from Thrift Books, it comes in official Thrift Books packaging, so you know what it is. So I got it, and I was like, oh, this is going to be awful. So I recorded a video live of me opening this thing up, and I just played roulette with it. So I just opened it up, I pointed to a word, and I started reading. And it is just there's heresy on every page. It's like you cannot point to a page and not find something heretical. It is just, I think that's Virgil's exactly right. It's just like it's like the ravings of a madman. He's just making stuff up.
Yep, a whole lot of words, not saying nothing.
But I can't wait to give this book away when I'm done with it. I've had it for a very long time, and I'm struggling to get through it.
I got you. I get it. All right, man. Last signature question is, what podcasts or sermons do you listen to, if any?
So I listen to as much as I can, but I can't do as much as I used to because now I'm making them. But what I'll say is the most common thing that you could find me listening to are The Dividing Line. I listen to John Harris, his Conversations That Matter podcast whenever I can. His podcasts are pretty long, so sometimes I can't get through them all. And then, those are the two that I listen to the most. But again, it's not nowhere near as much as I used to.
Okay.
Back in the day, I used to listen to all kinds of stuff.
Sure. Me too. Same way.
And the thing is, too, we were just talking before we started recording, but we both work from home. I used to listen like on my commute, which gave me a lot of time to listen to all kinds of stuff. But nowadays, it's like, I don't have a commute. What am I supposed to do?
Yep. Yeah. Not only that, man, I used to work at night doing dispatch, and it wasn't much going on, so I would always have my headphones in, 12-hour shift, and just going, man. And I mean, I don't miss night shift or dispatch, but I don't get a chance to listen to as much as I used to, for sure.
It's funny because like I didn't mention Cross Politic there because I don't do it as religiously, but Cross Politic I'll listen to anytime I see a topic that I'm very interested in. I'll always listen to it, but I can't do it religiously because I just don't have time for it anymore, Yep, exactly.
No, I totally get it. Good deal, man. Well, listen, AD, man, I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to come on the B.A.R podcast, man. I love to give my guests an opportunity to kind of close us out. Any words of encouragement, announcements, anything you want to share right here, man? Tell people where they can find you and your content. You got the space to do that right here.
Absolutely. So I'll say a couple of words of encouragement. I've actually done 2 videos today, and I'm trying to be as encouraging as I can. One topic that I'm all about this year in 2020 is just to just reject despair, because we serve a good God, and He's given us a simple plan of attack, and he's given us, it's amazing. He's told us who we are. He's told us what we should do, and it's for the most part fairly simple to obey Christ and to follow Him and to love Him and to love your neighbor. And so don't despair, because God is good all the time, regardless of what is happening around you. And the other thing is, we were talking about this just a second ago, but you're encouraging people to build platforms and podcasts and things like that. And I think that there's everything good about that. Obviously you want to make sure your pastor is in the know about what you're up to, but be encouraged, man. We're all starting with nothing, and everyone who has a platform started with no platform. So
that's right.
Be encouraged in building that. So that's what I'll say there. But again, if you want to find me, I'm on YouTube and I'm on Twitter and I'm on the Fight Laugh Feast Network. Just type in AD Robles. That's my last name, Robles.
Nice. Good deal, man. Well, listen, thank you again to the B.A.R listeners. Make sure you guys tune in every week to your favorite podcast, the B.A.R Podcast. Make sure you go to thebarpodcast.com, click on the network tab, and see all of the podcasts connected to the B.A.R network. Not the Fight Laugh Feast network. You can definitely check them out too, but we have our own thing going, and right. we love to team up and partner up. So definitely excited about that. Make sure you go to thebargear.com, pick you up some B.A.R gear. We got shirts, hats, t-shirts, hats, polos, beanies, jackets. We got all kind of stuff. Make sure you go there. Also find us on Facebook, the B.A.R Podcast, and on Instagram, Twitter. Here's the name change for Instagram. It is the B.A.R Network, and for Twitter, it's the B.A.R_network. Make sure you go follow. Until next time, you guys, God bless, and we are out.